First at 4, Governor Whitmer just added a new face mask requirement that will affect families with small children. We'll tell you what it means. Also, this woman wants to put the NRA out of business. We'll talk about the accusations of corruption and have a response from President Trump. Here's Ben.
Karen, still beautiful out there. Temperature's still comfortable, but that is all about to change as we head into the upcoming weekend. Kim?
I recently spoke with 2 mothers who have autistic children about their concerns of their sons interacting with the police. I'll share with you what they're doing in order to keep their kids safe.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Drew. Breaking. First at 4, Governor Whitmer just signed a new executive order requiring children to wear face masks at daycares and camps. This is going to affect many Metro Detroit families. Let's bring in Kimberly Gilt. She is taking a look at the new order and what this means, Kim.
Yeah, hi, Karen. Good afternoon to you. I have the order. It's right here. It's only 4 pages long, but it will have a big impact on the daily routines of many families. I mean, simply put, the order will require face coverings to be worn in all child care centers and camps, as you said, Karen. Now, the governor says it's necessary because Michigan has seen COVID-19 outbreaks inside those locations. And she says there's mounting evidence that children can contract and spread the virus. Staff members and children are both required to wear the face masks. Face masks won't be required for any child who can't medically tolerate it during mealtime, swimming, or during high-intensity activities outside while physically distanced. So, Karen, we just started gathering reaction, and you can read the entire order on our website. Just go to clickondetroit.com, and our coverage will continue when you join us for Local 4 News at 5. Until then, we'll send it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Kim.
Sure.
Now, let's take a quick look at the new coronavirus numbers from the state of Michigan. 722 new cases have been recorded in the past 24 hours. It is the first time the number has jumped above 700 this week, but it's still hovering around the plateau that we did talk about yesterday. 26 additional deaths have now been counted. 17 of those come from a review of vital records. Teachers heading to Lansing to say in-person school this fall is not safe. The Michigan Caucus of rank-and-file educators organized the rally on the Capitol lawn. Teachers say more resources to protect students from the virus is just one of the many investments needed right now. As much as teachers want to be in class, they believe it's not safe.
We believe that these hybrid plans that are coming out, while well-intentioned, and we understand each district wanting to, talk to parents and stuff, that is going to spread coronavirus, and it is going to directly lead to harming people, sadly.
The teachers say they're planning more protests like this leading up to the planned start of the school. Lockdowns have been lifted at a Ford complex over in Dearborn, but the search is still going on right now for an armed robbery suspect. Police say the suspect robbed a party store in Garden City this morning, then led police on a chase that ended at the AK Steel property in Dearborn. The owner of Express Liquor says the suspect stole lottery tickets from the store, then took off. Police say he ditched his car at AK Steel, sparking lockdowns there and at all buildings at Ford Rouge's site. AK Steel is inside the gates at the Rouge site, but is not a Ford facility. Police say there are wooded areas on the property, making it difficult to find the gunman. They are using drones and searching near railroad tracks. Since the focus has shifted from the plants, those lockdowns were lifted a little while ago. Normal operations have resumed at Ford. Sean Legg on the scene right now. Will have an update on that search when you join us at 5. Another Detroit-based company has taken its spot on the New York Stock Exchange. Rocket Company is owned by Dan Gilbert, who was asked to ring the opening bell this morning. Rocket Companies Incorporated is the parent company of Quicken Loans and Other Ventures. It launched an initial public offering at $18 a share, a little lower than expected, but that price would still bring in $1.8 billion. Tonight at 6, business editor Rob Maloney takes a look at how the stock did today and what this all means for the company and for the city of Detroit. In Decision 2020, this week there was record turnout for the primary election in Michigan. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson says she's expecting a record-breaking presidential election as well. Benson says her office learned a lot on Tuesday.
What August shows is that we can hold safe, accessible, and secure elections in the midst of a pandemic. It did show us what our system, what our infrastructure is able to handle, and what changes we will need to make in order to have a smooth election in November.
Benson says more than 2.5 million voters participated in Tuesday's primary, surpassing the previous primary record of 2.2 million set in 2018. More than 1.5 million people did vote absentee, more than any other election in state history. Benson expecting even more will vote by mail in November because of the pandemic. Results were delayed in some cities because of the increase of absentee voting. We've had our ups and downs this summer, but lately it has been nice, cool, and now it's starting to warm up. Here's Ben with what we can expect tonight.
Yeah, it's even nicer than yesterday, Karen. Got a little bit more warmth, but that humidity is still low, and you can see all of that sunshine still out there, even fewer clouds than what we were looking at yesterday. But we're splitting hairs. Both yesterday and today, gorgeous, little bit of a breeze to go with it. And as we get into the upcoming weekend, all of these drier conditions that we see over the Great Lakes are going to start to change. Even though Saturday is going to be bringing us some sunshine, we do have a chance of seeing a shower or thunderstorm around on Sunday, and notice that those high temperatures are warming up as well. Coming up, we'll look at where the humidity is going and a big change to the hurricane forecast this season. All that in just a few minutes. Karen?
All right, thank you, Ben. The long and slow recovery continues today after Hurricane Isaias delivered death and damage up and down the East Coast. Right now, the main challenge is restoring electricity. As of this morning, more than 2 million people have no power. Most outages are concentrated in 3 states, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Nearly 1,000 power restoration crews are at work in the region. The outages have forced many businesses to close, including gas stations, making it harder for everybody to get around. New York's Attorney General is suing the National Rifle Association and attempting to shut it down. The lawsuit filed by Attorney General Letitia James comes after an 18-month investigation. Now, it claims high-ranking officials diverted millions of dollars for lavish personal trips, no-show contracts for associates, and other questionable expenditures. Today, President Trump has some advice for the NRA. James says the corruption is so bad, there's only one option.
The corruption was so broad, and because of the level of waste, and because they have basically destroyed all of the assets of the corporation, it was critically important that one of the causes of actions and one of the remedies that we are seeking is the dissolution of the NRA.
I think the NRA should move to Texas and lead a very good and beautiful life.
The NRA called the suit a baseless, premeditated attack on the organization. The group is vowing to fight and says it will prevail. All right, let's talk about the latest unemployment numbers. There are a few positive signs, but the jobless picture is still alarming overall. Nearly 1.2 million Americans filed for benefits last week. Right now, those laid off workers won't get that extra $600 in benefits, which has come now to an end. The number of new filings was down almost 250,000 from last week, and it is the lowest number since mid-March. One analyst says until the coronavirus is under control, any economic recovery remains at risk. During this time of racial reckoning, we've shown you some of the tough conversations African-American parents are having with their children. For some parents, that conversation is even trickier as their children are also living with autism. Local 4's Kim DeGiulio introduces us to some parents banding together, trying to keep their kids safe.
Camille Proctor learned that her son Ari was autistic in 2008. She immediately sought out support groups to help guide her. However,
there were no support groups that could identify with some of the things that I, as an African-American parent, would have to go through.
Which is why Camille founded the Color of Autism Foundation in 2009. While autism awareness will always be important, Camille started the Color of Autism Foundation to bring awareness to the dangers of being autistic, especially when you're a person of color.
I would always ask the question, what's going to happen when he's like 14 and he's 6 feet tall and he's almost there now, and he doesn't understand how to yield, how to communicate properly with authority figures, the police.
Camille continues to work with Ari about what to do in that situation, which is what Danielle is teaching her autistic son to do as well.
We're teaching him, to identify himself. He'll say, "My name is Daniel," follow directions, stay calm, breathe.
She says Daniel, who also has echolalia, needs to be taught these things because his life could depend on it.
If he sees a police officer, he may imitate a TV show he saw with the police officer, and even though he's echoing what the police officer may have said in the TV show, he doesn't necessarily understand what is going on right now.
The Color of Autism hosts virtual town hall meetings.
Some of her events, she's even brought in police officers, so they can learn the signs of autism and different ways of communicating with individuals with autism. So that really helps raise awareness, but we need more of it. We definitely need more.
What Camille and Danielle could not stress enough is autism is not a one-size-fits-all diagnosis. It affects every child differently, which is why we always need to be aware. If you'd like to learn more about the Color of Autism, you can find the link to their website on our website, clickondetroit.com. I'm Kim DeGiulio, Local 4.
All right, appreciate it, Kim. The Color of Autism Foundation is even working with Hollywood. Recently collaborated on a Netflix show about a teenager with autism called Atypical. Still ahead, here first at 4, parents reveal a macaroni and cheese secret. So many people are doing it that Kraft is making a change. We'll explain in Trending Stories. 2 companies are putting more pressure on customers to follow their face mask rules. One even offers guidance on what kind of masks you cannot wear. First, grief turns to anger in Beirut. A neighborhood cleanup after that massive explosion takes a surprising turn. News from around the world coming up.